Thank you for joining us, and it's time for our news bulletin right here on Luntha television. And you're with me, Patrick Pupa, but first, our headlines. Pope Leo XIV appeals to Society of St. Pius X to hold unauthorized bishop consecrations. Malawi Electoral Commission make optimistic over smooth by-election process with promising voter turnout. Plane crash families seek answers and support as inquiry continues. And in international news, 25,000 foreigners flee South Africa as an official deadline to leave expires. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Let's start our news bulletin right here on Luntha television with the story from Vatican. Pope Leo XIV has issued a final appeal to the Priestly Society of St. Pius X, urging its leaders not to proceed with the planned consecration of 4 bishops without proper approval, an act the Vatican says would amount to a new schism within the Church. In a letter dated 29 June, the Solemnity of St. Peter and Paul, and addressed to SSPX Superior General Father David Pagliani, the Pope expressed deep concern over the Episcopal consecration scheduled for 1st July in Econe, Switzerland. The appeal came just days before the ceremony, which will take place without a pontifical mandate. We have a Vatican News report read by Charity Chinanga.
Addressing the fraternity with what he described as a paternal heart, Pope Leo acknowledged the devotion, commitment to priestly formation, missionary zeal, and attachment to tradition shown by many members of the society. He noted that these qualities had inspired the patient and generous approach adopted by previous popes toward the fraternity. However, the pontiff strongly urged the group to reconsider its plans, warning that such a charismatic act would seriously harm the spiritual well-being of the faithful associated with the society. He stressed that proceeding with the consecrations would deprive many believers of the lawful reception of the sacraments, and in some instances could even invalidate them. The Pope reaffirmed that the Church remains open to dialogue and reconciliation, expressing hope that the Holy Spirit could guide both sides toward greater understanding. He described the division of the Church as a grave sin and appealed to the conscience of the fraternity's leaders to abandon their intended course of action. Entrusting his appeal to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Pope Leo said he was acting out of both sorrow and hope as he exercised the authority entrusted to him as the successor of St. Peter.
Malawi Electoral Commission make Chairperson Justice Anabe Mtalimanja has expressed optimism with today's by-elections as most polling centers open on time and voter turnout showed promising signs despite minor technical challenges at a few stations. Mtalimanja made the remarks after inspecting the voting process at 5 polling stations of Bambino, Bwemba Primary School, Bwemba Community Hall, Chankandwe Primary School, and Ngure Primary School in Lilongwe Bwaira constituency. More in our report filed by Gift Kalonga.
Mtalimanja acknowledged that a few polling stations experienced delays in opening due to procedural requirements and technical faults affecting biometric voter verification devices. She said MEC technicians responded promptly to resolve the challenges, while physical voter registers were used as a backup to ensure that eligible voters were not prevented from casting their ballots. She further said polling stations that opened later than the scheduled time would have their voting hours extended by exact amount of time lost to guarantee every eligible voter an opportunity to vote. Talimanja added that the Commission will continue monitoring the voting process across all affected constituencies to ensure the elections are conducted in a peaceful, transparent, and credible manner.
All our processes are going on well. You can see even at this station we have quite a number of people, but they have queued orderly, and there's also peace and calm, and we trust that polling will proceed smoothly until 4 p.m. when we close our stations. There are a few stations that were not able to open precisely at 6 a.m. As per our procedures, we're going to extend the time corresponding to the delay from 6 p.m. So where there's 20 minutes, we extend by 20 minutes to compensate for that time.
One of the voters, Kambani Crichton, said he considered it important to wake up early and cast his vote because the constituency has been without a member of parliament. He said the absence of parliamentary representation has negatively affected development in the area, expressing hope that the by-election will help address the constituency development needs.
I came early this morning because I believe this election is very important for our constituency. We have been without a member of parliament for some time, and that has affected development in our area.
More than 36,000 registered voters are expected to cast their ballots in Lilongwe parliamentary by-election in Lilongwe City Bwaira constituency. 7 candidates are contesting the parliamentary by-election in Lilongwe City Bwaira constituency. They are Mike Chimzukira of Democratic Progressive Party DPP, Precious Kabambe of Malawi Congress Party MCP, Grace Mbengo Mnapo Independent, Henry Muyaya Independent, Punziro Mvula Independent, Sandra Kamwendo Ndau Independent, and Neres Martha Sendezera of the United Transformation Movement UTM. MEC conducted polls in Lilongwe City Bwaira, Machinga Mikoko, and Baraka Mulunguzi constituencies, as well as Uliwa Ward in Karonga South constituency and Kanjuli Ward in Machinga Central East constituency. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development Rosa Fachimbilizi says that while Malawi has made notable progress in the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector, recent statistics reveal significant gaps in access, quality and reliability of services. Speaking on Tuesday during the 2026 Wash Joint Sector Review meeting in Lilongwe, Mbedizi noted that about 89% of Malawians have access to improved water resources, while only 73% have access to at least basic water services. Of greater concern, just 18.7% of the population has access to safely managed water that is available on premises, reliable and free from contamination. More in this report, read by Tandiwe Mzumara.
Mbedizi observed that despite the progress made, Malawi remains off track to achieve universal access to safely managed water by 2030 in line with Sustainable Development Goal number 6. She further pointed out that declining financial support to the sector is worsening the situation, with the WASH budget dropping from 3.35% to 1.97%. According to the minister, this reduction is putting pressure on efforts to expand and sustain service delivery amid rising population growth, rapid urbanization, and climate-related challenges.
I was urging the participants to this joint sector review to make sure that they take cognizance of the fact that the issues to do with WASH are not just about water supply. They're about hygiene, they're about human dignity, they're about economic development.
The Water and Environmental Sanitation Network Westnet Board Chairperson Jandiwira Chisi has since called for a shift towards inclusive inclusive, gender-sensitive and sustainable approaches to ensure that water and sanitation services are not only available but also safe, reliable and accessible to all Malawians.
We are at a place where it's very clear that we will not be able to attain the SDG targets by 2030. We are way behind. Now, it only takes a lot of concerted effort, reinvigoration, re-energizing, and really pushing the boundaries for us to make the much-needed progress.
The UNICEF representative Penelope Campbell emphasized the critical importance of water, describing it as essential for life, good health, nutrition, peace, and stability. She warned that lack of water can even lead to conflict and undermine food security, noting that it is fundamental for multiple aspects of daily survival.
What needs to be done, I think, at this stage is increased attention to sustainability, fixing the boreholes which are not functional, fixing the water systems that are not functional and making them work.
The 2026 WASH Joint Sector Review JSR is being held under the theme Remembering WASH Financing, ensuring inclusive gender-sensitive services for all.
Malawi Council of Churches MCC has appealed to Christian churches in the country, rather as well as across all three regions in the country, to provide urgent humanitarian support to Malawians returning from South Africa following recent xenophobic attacks. In a press statement signed by Board Chairperson Professor Dr. Bide Gama and General Secretary Reverend Alemegezege Chigwandi Perry, the Council called on citizens and churches to stand in solidarity with the victims of the attacks. Emmanuel Georgia with the details.
According to the statement, the Council is heartbroken by the suffering of Malawian brothers and sisters who have been affected by the xenophobic violence in South Africa and says it is committed to supporting them. Speaking in an interview, Reverend Alemegezege Chigwandi said the Council cannot sit back and watch while the fellow Malawians continue to suffer. He has urged Christians to demonstrate charity by donating food, clothing, blankets, and other essential items. He also appealed to the churches that own buses to assist in the ongoing repatriation exercise.
We as the Christian community, works of charity is part and parcel of our faith. So we are appealing to member churches, to Christian community in general, that we need to help these brothers and sisters coming back home. We can help them by giving them food, clothing, groceries, and also praying with them. They are traumatized, they need counseling, and they need our help.
The Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, says about 15,000 Malawians have so far been safely repatriated from South Africa. The figure includes both those who were deported and those who voluntarily return with assistance from Malawi government to protect their lives. Meanwhile, the Hindu community in Malawi has donated relief items worthy 13 million kwacha to the government of Malawi. The donation, which include food items such as milk and flour, will help to provide assistance to Malawians returning from South Africa after fleeing the xenophobic attacks. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Georgia.
In case you are just joining us, remember you're watching News Bulletin coming to you from Luntha Television, and you are with me, Patrick Pooper. But for now, let's take a commercial break and we'll be back straight after this.
Announcement: transition to cashless ticketing. Malawi Airlines would like to inform all valued customers that effective 1st May, all ticket purchases will be conducted exclusively through cashless transactions. As part of this transition, payment will be accepted via bank transfers and POS machines for various banks available at our offices. This measure is designed to streamline our processes, reduce transaction times, and ensure a safer, more secure way of completing bookings. Cashless ticketing will complement our existing online booking platforms, our website, and our mobile application while aligning with global aviation practices that embrace digital payment solutions. We encourage all customers to prepare for this change by making use of the available electronic payment facilities. Our sales and airport staff will be available to guide and assist customers during this transition. For further assistance, please contact our customer service team via customerrelations@malawianairlines.com or call our support line. We remain committed to serving you with dignity, efficiency, and care as we embrace this new chapter. This announcement is brought to you by Malawi Airlines Management.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Kampani ya maulendo a ndege ya Malawi Airlines ikudziwitsa makasitomala awo onse kuti kuyambira pa 1 May 2026 kugula matikiti kudzichitika pogwiritsa ntchito njira za digital. Monga gawo la kusintha kumeneku, kulipira kudzalandiridwa kudzera potumiza ndalama ku banki, bank transfer, makina a POS, mabanki osiyanasiyana omwe alipo ku maofesi athu. Njirazi zomwe zakhazikitsidwa pofuna kuthandiza makasitomala mwachangu komanso pofuna kukhwimitsa chitetezo zizigwirizana ndi njira zina zomwe zilipo kale zogulira matikiti pa intaneti kuphatikizapo tsamba lathu la website komanso pa foni, mogwirizana ndi mmene makampani a ndege pa dziko lonse akusinthira kupita ku njira za digital. Tikulimbikitsa makasitomala onse kuti akonzekere kusintha kumeneku kugwiritsa ntchito njira zolipira za pa intaneti zomwe zilipo. Ogwira ntchito athu ku maofesi ogulitsa ndi ku airport adzakhalapo kuti athandize ndi kutsogolera makasitomala pa nthawi ya kusinthaku. Mukafuna kumva zambiri, tumizani email pa customerrelations@malawianairlines.com kapena imbani foni pa 0992 991 097.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Welcome back, and remember we are live at Bishop Nev Media Center in Area 2. But before I proceed or moving on with our news, let's have a recap of our top stories. Pope Leo XIV appeals to Society of St. Pius X to hold unauthorized bishop consecrations. Malawi Electoral Commission make optimistic over smooth by-election process with promising voter turnout. Plane crash families seek answers and support as inquiry continues. And in international news, 25,000 foreigners flee South Africa as an official deadline to leave expires. Moving on with our news, the families of those who died in the June 10, 2024 military plane crash have appealed for answers and better support, telling the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee that they are still struggling with pension and welfare challenges, or some are yet to receive the autopsy reports of their loved ones. Speaking before the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee on Tuesday, Ephinus Kanyemba spoke to the late Dr. Dan Kanyemba, who served as a medical officer to former Vice President Dr. Cyrus Cross Chidima, appealed for the committee's intervention, saying the pension she received was too little and has made it difficult to care for her young children. Costas Kamtemeni with the details.
Kanyemba told the committee that although she believes the plane crash was a natural accident caused by bad weather, her family continues to face financial challenges following the death of her husband. On her part, Martha Kapeni, spouse to the late Lucas Kapeni, said she is still not satisfied with the findings of the German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation report. She said she is waiting for the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee to establish the truth about what happened, and also told the committee that her family has not received the autopsy report. Heritage Manning, spouse to the late Shisomoch Manning, also appealed for assistance over pension and gratuity payments. She said raising the couple's two young children alone has become difficult, and asked the committee to help her access the benefits due to her family. Coming in fourth, Mavudo Ngwirinji, husband to the late Flora Seleman, said he continues to ask himself many questions about the plane crash. He told the committee he had been expecting his wife to return home and is still searching for answers about the tragedy. The Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee is continuing its inquiry into the June 10, 2024 military plane crash that claimed the lives of the former Vice President Dr. Saulos Klaus Chidima and 8 others. The public hearings are expected to continue as the committee gathers more evidence before concluding its investigations. For Luntha News, this is Constance Kamtemin.
Agriculture and economic experts are calling for urgent reforms to strengthen Malawi's local seed production, warning that continued dependence on imported seed is costing the country's millions of dollars in foreign exchange and threatening agricultural productivity. The remarks follow revelations that Malawi continues to spend millions of United States dollars importing seed from neighboring countries due to inadequate local production to meet national demand. Judith Organ with the details.
Agricultural expert Leonard Chimwaza says Malawi currently produces far less seed than the quantity required each farming season, forcing seed companies to rely on imports. He said high fertilizer prices, expensive seed production costs, and low purchasing power among farmers have discouraged local production, calling on government to introduce policies that lower production costs and make seed more affordable and accessible.
It is indeed true that from what has been revealed, Malawi is losing a lot of millions in US dollars through importation of seed from neighboring countries. What it means is that as a country, we are failing to produce enough seed to suffice one cropping season. For example, this country has a demand of over 40,000 metric tons of seed.
Concurring with Chimwaza, economic expert Happy Chirwa said the continued import of agricultural inputs is placing unnecessary pressure on the country's foreign exchange reserves and weakening the economy. Chirwa has since urged government to promote local seed production through favorable policies, investment in agricultural research, and supports the local producers to reduce dependence on imports and strengthening Malawi's agricultural-based economy.
Yeah, that's something very necessary to consider as we are now in Malawi. Because if you look at these inputs that we are having, They are the ones that are on the main part of our economy, the main sector of our economy, because the Malawi economy is based on agriculture. It's agriculture-based economy.
The experts have since emphasized that increasing local seed production would not only save foreign exchange but job availability and also improve food security, enhance agricultural productivity, and contribute to long-term economic growth. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Ogan.
Founder of the Stay in School program named Tindwa has called for the introduction of menstrual hygiene education in primary schools. Tindwa said it is important to equip girls with the knowledge and skills they need to manage menstrual confidently and maintain their dignity. She said one of the best ways to achieve this is by introducing girls to long-lasting menstrual hygiene products such as menstrual cups, which can be reused for years and eliminate the need to buy sanitary pads every month. Fales Chizombe with the details.
Tindwa said menstrual cups are an effective and easy-to-use solution that can help reduce absenteeism among schoolgirls caused by a lack of sanitary products. She said many girls struggle to afford sanitary items every month, making it important to introduce menstrual cups at an early age so they can manage their periods confidently and remain in school. Tindwa also called on the government to construct changing rooms in schools to provide girls with a safe and private space to manage their menstruation with dignity.
There are several initiatives, and one of them is the menstrual hygiene, which I'd like to talk about. I'm also a mentor under the Focus Girls Club, where I mentor girls in secondary schools and primary schools. So I use this opportunity to spread awareness based on education, cultural practices, as well as their, how these young girls have to develop their careers.
Meanwhile, the Stay in School program, in collaboration with Family Health Services, has distributed 116 menstrual cups to schoolgirls as part of efforts to improve menstrual hygiene management and keep girls in school. Reporting for Luntha News, this is Fales Chizombe.
And finally, in international news, South African police were heavily deployed on Tuesday to prevent an arrest and anti-immigration protest linked to an unofficial deadline set by citizen-led groups demanding that undocumented foreign nationals leave the country. The campaign has also already prompted thousands of migrants to flee amid fears of violence. Security forces were stationed in various areas to deter looting and clashes, while hundreds of foreign nationals sought shelter in different cities and appealed for assistance to return to their home countries. We have an African News report read by Ongani Chira.
Recent weeks, at least 4 foreign nationals, 2 Mozambicans, 1 Ethiopian and 1 Malawian have reportedly been killed in anti-immigrant attacks. Several African governments have since arranged transportation, including buses and flights, to repatriate their citizens. Among those preparing to leave was 45-year-old Malawian builder Peter Madison, who joined thousands gathered in Durban awaiting transport home. He said he chose to leave to avoid possible attacks, adding that as the sole provider for his family in Malawi, returning home was safer than risking his life in South Africa. The Border Management Authority reported that around 25,000 people have been repatriated in recent weeks. South African authorities said about 15,000 Malawians have been processed for departure, while thousands from countries such as Ghana, Mozambique, Nigeria and Zimbabwe had already left. Uganda has also announced plans to evacuate nearly 750 of its citizens. As the June 30 deadline arrived, thousands of migrants, mainly from Malawi and Zimbabwe, gathered in Cape Town and Johannesburg awaiting assistance to return home. Some said they had lost their jobs or been evicted by landlords who feared penalties from authorities or attacks by vigilante groups. Zimbabwean national Evelyn Chinooneka, 29, said she and her 10-month-old baby had spent days outside the Zimbabwean consulate in Cape Town waiting for transport. She explained that they had endured harsh conditions, including rain, after being told to leave the farm where she had worked for 4 years. In Johannesburg's Soweto Township, groups of men dressed in traditional Zulu attire marched through the streets, carrying shields and sticks, while chanting Abahambe, meaning let them go. The anti-illegal immigration group March and March, led by Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, had declared June 30 the start of a nationwide campaign calling for the deportation of all undocumented migrants. However, Ngobese Zuma insisted the movement did not support violence or looting. Fearing a repeat of the deadly unrest that rocked the country in July 2021, the South African government ordered a large-scale security operation and warned against criminal activities. President Cyril Ramaphosa also announced stronger measures to tackle illegal immigration and urged traditional leaders to help ease the tension. KwaZulu-Natal Premier Tammy Ntuli stressed that while concerns about undocumented migration may exist, the province would not tolerate violence, criminality, or xenophobic attacks. South Africa, one of Africa's largest economies, continues to attract migrant workers despite facing unemployment rates above 30%, high crime levels, and challenges in public service delivery. Previous outbreaks of xenophobic violence, including the 2008 riots that claimed 62 lives, have highlighted the dangers of anti-immigrant sentiment. Labour analyst Dale McKinley argued that migrants are being unfairly blamed for deeper problems such as poor governance, corruption, and mismanagement. He added that with local government elections approaching in November, the immigration debate has increasingly
With that international report read by Ongani Chira, let's have a weather report from Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services by Tapiwa Kutakumoto.
Good evening, and it's time for weather forecast. Cold to very cold conditions were experienced over most areas this morning, especially over the central and the northern part of the country, with Katere Forest in Ilongwe reporting the lowest at 5 degrees Celsius, followed by Mzuzu and Mazisi in Rumpi, which reported 6 degrees Celsius. We are currently expecting partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the south as well as some parts along the lakeshore, but few clouds should be expected over the central and the northern part of the country. Cold temperatures will also be persisting over most areas tonight and during morning hours, but we should expect warm conditions in the afternoon hours, accompanied by haze in some areas. This is all due to the influence of an outgoing high pressure system, which is still pumping in fairly moist easterlies into the country, influencing these conditions. This is also why partly cloudy conditions will be persisting over most areas in the south tonight, as well as some parts along the lakeshore, but generally few clouds are expected over the central and the northern part of the country. Similar conditions are also expected tomorrow in the morning hours, accompanied by fog patches in some areas, especially over the valleys. Temperatures will also remain mild tomorrow in the morning hours in some areas such as Ngabu, Nsanje and Karonga at around 18 degrees Celsius, but generally cold conditions should be expected over the south, the central, as well as the northern part of the country. Looking into the afternoon hours of tomorrow, we should expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the south, some parts of the central, as well as the lakeshore areas, but generally few clouds are expected over the north. We are also expecting hazy conditions to persist over most areas. Temperatures will also remain hot tomorrow in the afternoon over Ngabu and in Sanje at around 30 degrees Celsius, similarly in some parts along the lakeshore, but generally warm conditions should be expected over the south, the central, as well as the northern part of the country. Looking into Thursday, we should expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas across the country, accompanied by cold temperatures at night and during morning hours, while warm conditions are also expected to persist during the afternoon hours. I'm Tabua Kutamutu. Be wise, be weather-wise.
And with that weather report, we have come to the end of our news bulletin right here on Luntha Television. But before I leave, top stories once again. Pope Leo XIV appeals to Society of St. Pius X to hold unauthorized bishop consecrations. Malawi Electoral Commission make optimistic over smooth by-election process with promising voter turnout. Plane crash families seek answers and support as inquiry continues. And in international news, 25,000 foreigners flee South Africa as an official deadline to leave expires. And it has been a pleasure keeping you company as you watched our news bulletin right here on Luntha Television. For this and much more, visit our Facebook page, that's Luntha Television, and on YouTube, that's Luntha TV Official, as well as our other satellite platforms. I'm Patrick Pupa. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best as you keep watching Luntha Television. Goodbye. I wish you all the best.
Luntha Television, bringing wisdom into your home.